All right, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the first weekly forecast for iProfit on YouTube. So, if you haven't subscribed, subscribe now. This will be on a weekly basis. Every Saturday, I will be giving you guys a basic forecast on some of the majors as well as a few of the index pairs. So, you can count on me every Saturday to give you my view. Let me get everything else set up here. 1 second, and we will start. I wanted to go over, a lot of people are new to trading. A lot of people are, confused about trading, whether you are a consistent trader or you are a struggling trader. Seeing things on a different perspective is always important. Making you more versatile as far as how you see the market, but more or less through my studies, through my back testing on, methods of actually trading the market, I believe wave analysis is one of the best ways to view the market. So let me, 1 second, y'all, but more or less knowing the, behaviors of the market, knowing how the market works on a large and a small scale is what's going to bring you consistency in the market. Identifying certain corrections, identifying certain waves can more or less give you a nice understanding on how to move in the markets. But more or less, if you were to be interested in learning how I see the market as far as raw structure, subscribe, contact me on Facebook. The link is below, as well as Instagram, and we can talk about getting you inside the group. I run my group a little bit differently. We do trainings each week, one-on-one, just to make sure that you're taking the right steps forward and you're learning in a process that is vital to you understanding certain things. Let me see. 1 second. Let me share this link inside the group. And we'll get started. If you have any questions or anything like that, make sure we have a comment section over there. Make sure you are commenting or wait till the end of the webinar till I'm done with the actual forecast. But more or less, let me share this. Okay, now let's get started. More or less what we have on the chart now, this is the dollar index. I like to go through the dollar index, before each week, just to know the direction that we are, possibility that we will experience. But more or less what we have here on the dollar index, we're in a running flat type of structure. So what I want to see on dollar index is another move up to break these highs. With it breaking these highs, there's two things that could happen. It could crawl up a little bit more. Let's see what's happening to the left. As you can see, we haven't broke this structure here. It's a minor zone here. I'm expecting it to move up a little bit more. Once we break these highs, be very careful because, the market will become very unpredictable, meaning we could get another retest of these higher lows we see here. But more or less, you'll see another push up on the dollar, which that will give me the impression that, the euro, if you were trading the euro USD, don't take any buys yet. We'll be going over that as well, how it plays in confluence with the actual dollar index. But more or less, be looking for an up move on the dollar index, finishing this running flat type of structure. We'll monitor it once it reaches this point, but for right now, it looks like we're heading up. Let's go to the Euro index. The Euro index is more or less the same structure as the dollar, or the Euro dollar. What we have here is we have a lower low which was made within this downtrend. So what we're looking for is the bigger trend. So we have a lower low here, which would give us a zone about here. What I'm looking for now, since we have gotten this consolidation here, this bearish type of structure, what I was looking for last week was it finishing this structure in a hole. So there's two situations that we could have. More or less, we could see the euro dollar head down and break these lows, which will give us a new lower low within structure. Now, once we break this low, we would have to monitor structure very closely, because more or less, I believe we will be heading back up in a running flat type of structure here, testing this area here, which would possibly break or give us one more downside. All right, let's look very closely to that, but it's very promising the market will crawl down to this point, break this low, and we might see some bullish reactions from this level. So look out for that on the euro. The British pound, more or less identical to the pound dollar. So as you can see, we've been in a down movement, down type of structure. So what we had here was a running flat as well. You can see this lower low here, this lower low here. We have a pullback which has tested this zone, giving us a running flat type of structure, pushing us down for one more lower low. So we will see some downside on the pound dollar the next week, but more or less we could see some upside as far as a correction. Remember that you have to take corrections in consideration. We might get more upside here, but that's according to these levels here. But ultimately, we're heading down to break these lows. All right, Japanese yen index. As we're looking at it on the day chart, what could happen here on the Japanese index is we could get another move up to the highs. But considering that, this could be a pullback here for a continuation down, we would have to make sure that we monitor these zones here within this correction type of structure. All right. But ultimately, marking the zones, we have a move down here, we have a correction here. So this will be our first zone of reference. Now we have a lower low here, which we could get a pullback to these levels here, all right, for it to continue down. But more or less, if we get a break at this level, we will see a break of this high. We'll get a continuation to the upside. How far it goes, we don't know yet, but it could be making a structure here in this area here where it could range. Okay, let's move on to U.S. oil. We had a nice movement on U.S. oil last week. We were able to pull some pips out the market within this continuation. So more or less, we've seen the break here as far as the inverse head and shoulders. We've seen this pullback here. We got in on this continuation, took profit around these highs. I knew we were going to see another correction, a bigger correction. Experienced this, and now we're down at these levels. We played that very nicely, but I expect oil to push up to the shoulder type of levels here. Our first shoulder that we've seen on the uptrend to the left is around this area, around 66. So we will see, a rise on oil, at least to this level, maybe higher. But on a bigger scale, I'm expecting a move up to break these highs. Let's go to Euro USD. Euro USD, like I said, it's more or less identical to the actual Euro index. So more or less we see the same thing. So we have the pullback here, we have the lower low here, the new lower low here. And as well as we are approaching the lows, we should see a move down. Depending on structure as it approaches these levels, I'm looking for another move up, giving us that running flat as we've seen on the pound index. So what I'm expecting is a move up. Let's monitor structure on its way up. If it breaks these levels, then we should see some more upside. But if it doesn't, we see some type of reversal type of pattern in this area. We're looking for the next move down to break these low as well. So let's go to the pound dollar. Pound dollar, same as the pound index, running flat type of situation. We had to move up, we had to move here, which hasn't broke this level here in the downtrend. So more or less, we'll be heading down to make another lower low within the bigger structure. Let's go to dollar yen. All right, dollar yen. We are in a special situation. I believe the market in this area will give us something more complex before it actually goes. So on a longer scale, as you know, we have the impulse here coming off a move down, which I believe is going to be a big correction in this area on the day chart. So more or less, we're looking for the third wave up within this correction. All right. So what we're looking for now is a confirmation for this move up to finish the third leg within this 1, 2, 3, three-wave correction, which would ultimately sell off to the downside, giving us a bigger three-wave correction, which would be 1, 2, 3. All right, but it's going to take a while for this all to develop. But as where we are now in structure, what we should see is a push up pretty soon. But like I said, let's wait for the market to give us some type of structure over here before we start talking about, positions for a long term to the upside. Dollar CAD. What we have on dollar CAD is on a long term aspect, we have a three-wave correction, which has finished already. 1, 2, 3. What could happen is, as you can see, we're trying to make an uptrend. Currently, our next zone of reference would be around this level. So more or less, I think this is the finish of the correction, as we don't have a break of this level, as well as we head up from here, but not in a straight line. We will be moving just like structure is moving. We will be making continuations and pullbacks on the midterm, but more or less, I think we are gearing up for a nice move to the upside, considering our next zone is here. So what we could, what could develop would be a move up here. We could get a move back down here. Ultimately, this would be a nice level to jump on the uptrend as far as the continuation. But on a short term for this week, what we should see on dollar, Canadian dollar, it's very hard to tell. We don't have a break within this level yet. This buy up will be very risky. We could quite easily get a move down for another lower low, then having the move up, the break here, correction here, then we'll be able to, get in on a continuation. But I would wait for this particular structure to see what happens. It looks to me like a correction for the upside, but, I would want to wait for the confirmation. So that's it for this week. If you guys got any questions, leave them in the comments. But more or less, we will be on this every week. You guys have a good trading week, and don't forget to hit subscribe.